Bro, have you ever walked into a services department, whether it be government or not, and you immediately felt like you were entering a prison and not a place of service? I'm serious. Some of these buildings, they look like they were designed to dominate you and not help you. I mean, the chairs are bolted to the floor, the walls are grey, the lighting is harsh. Even the queue has its own personality. It's long, it's grumpy, and it's slow. You start wondering if the architecture was meant to serve the people or scare the people. And here's the funny part. Architecture actually has a language. It speaks. And in some of these places, it's shouting, "Hey, Baba, don't get too comfortable. You're lucky to be here." But imagine if the same building whispered instead of barked. What if it said, take a breath, you belong here, you're seen. The architecture around you isn't neutral. It's programming your behavior in real time. We're there to get some service. And yet when you get there, in a place where you're supposed to receive help, you feel like you are trespassing. You feel like this is a place that you are not welcome. You feel like the environment is conditioning you to be in a particular mode. Not a mode of help, but a mode of distress. And this is the point of this video. Architecture is a language. Urban planning and spatial design are not cosmetic decisions. They are behavioral systems. They embed emotional triggers, cognitive cues, and behavioral instructions into physical form. When you design a space, you shape behavior. Whether policymakers admit it or not, architecture is policy. Layout is psychology. Lighting is emotional engineering. There's even systemic evidence. For instance, green spaces lower depression risk by 40% and reduce cortisol by 15 to 20%. Natural light improves productivity by 18%. Curved architecture reduces stress more than sharp angles. Walkable city layouts improve social cohesion by 30%. Color in space changes behavior. Terracotta tones increase public service dwell time by 25%. These are not aesthetic effects, they are behavioral outcomes engineered through design systems. So, trying to fix community behavior without fixing spatial design is like trying to change a computer's output without rewriting the code. We keep wondering why service delivery fails, why littering persists, why vandalism rises, but we overlook the system design beneath it all. People respond to signals, and buildings, towns, cities, campuses, compounds send signals. If they're poorly maintained, that environment says this space doesn't matter, and neither do you. A thoughtful design says you belong here. You are seen. How a space is built doesn't just house behaviors, it shapes them. I'm sure you've sat in queues that felt like pressure cookers. You've probably stood in municipal queues so long you forget what you came for. Our public service architecture is telling people what they are worth. And often that message is not much. The physical infrastructure of service delivery in many parts of our country is still shaped by outdated logic. A logic that manages people rather than honors them. Whether it be clinics, municipal offices, licensing centers, police stations, they often feel designed to contain, control, and frustrate rather than support, comfort, and uplift. So beyond the numbers, look at how people behave when a space is designed with dignity. They calm down. They feel like the system values them. Even the best people can't outperform bad architecture. From apartheid era spatial design to post-apartheid infrastructure inertia, many of our public buildings still carry the blueprint of containment, not care. Look around. Look at our police stations. They are often cold, hard, dehumanizing spaces. What are we teaching people about safety and dignity? Now compare that with some countries where holding cells include natural light, therapeutic layout, clean materials, and even thoughtful furniture. Not because they are soft, but because rehabilitation is the goal. So we must ask ourselves, what do our buildings say about how we see our people? We interact with these environments on a constant basis. And I say this with love and not with disdain. We can do better. To urban planners, town planners, property investors, take a hard look at what you are building. I'm seeing new developments, especially townhouse complexes and mixed-use centers. Already, they're repeating the old mistakes. There's no space for gathering, no greenery. There are tight grids, uninspired design. You're not just shaping space. You're shaping behavior. You're shaping identity. Design is never neutral. It either honors dignity or quietly strips it away. And when public service spaces are bleak, overcrowded, or hostile, they don't just delay service, they diminish people. But it doesn't have to be like this. There's a better path. Biophilic design, natural light, communal layouts, warm texture, infrastructure that softens urban edges instead of hardening people's hearts. We can even go as far as paint and the use of texture. If you made it this far, you're not just watching. You're decoding the systems that we live in. Design shapes behavior. Tag a planner, tag a civic leader, tag someone who's shaping public infrastructure. The conversation forward. We don't rise above environments, rise within them. And if we want to change outcomes, we must first change the environments that shape those outcomes. Because better spaces don't just serve people, they affirm their worth.